Tick Tick Boom, the movie directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda, his live action debut, I believe.
Yes.
Um,
Film directorial debut. Yep.
and he is, yeah, film, good distinction. He has done a lot of other live action stuff. It follows the life of Jonathan Larson, biopic, I guess, about him. It's like
Yeah.
interesting to like what genre this totally falls in, but um Jonathan Larson, who was the writer and creator of Broadway shows like Tick Tick Boom, which the movie is named after, and Rent, most notably, I'd say, to most people.
Yep.
Um, and mostly about his like first show that he's like creating in like his life around that time. Um, I gotta be honest, our guy Andrew Garfield playing Jonathan Larson thought he killed it. Was super pumped. I thought this movie was great. How did you feel watching Tick Tick Boom?
I also was really pleased with it. I really did enjoy it. Um, didn't really know what it was going in. It's like like Tick Tick Boom, not as famous as Rent. I think that goes without saying. But also like Tick Tick Boom, the musical, which is what's being adapted by Lynn here. That musical, of course, famously, infamously, was not brought to stage by Jonathan Larson because of his untimely sudden passing right when Rent was coming out. So it's funny to think of it as a biopic, right? Because it's actually an original work created by the man, and not all of it's completely real. It's like semi autobiographical in the sense. It's kind of funny to wrap your head around like the how all this connects, right? But I think the movie does a nice job of keynoting and noting on like a tribute to Jonathan Larson, obviously a huge theater figure who people like to think perhaps could have gone down as truly one of the greatest ever if he hadn't passed, in terms of this, the best people making musicals. So what you get though is, as you said, I think a really compelling turn from Andrew Garfield, despite the fact that he's not like this huge song and dance man, you know, but he
No.
still really does a really good job. And I think Lynn too brings a really good cinematic touch to this movie. It doesn't come across as just a blatant, simple stage adaptation. I think it
Mhm.
works as a film. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, and I think that that's the thing is, um, it felt like a movie, but the songs and some of the ways that it weaved into things definitely held some of that original work, and stage presence to it. Yeah, Garfield absolutely, I thought, nailed this. Not only does he, kind of embody the look. If you could look up pictures of Jonathan Larson, definitely has, I think, the look down, but just overall brings a presence to the role. He's like, obviously the movie Tick Tick Boom. The title is like referencing this feeling that Jonathan Larson kind of has in his life, like time is like running out, or like or moving towards this like big explosion. And Garfield really like plays like him on this edge really well, and I think his like energy and like I don't know if neuroticism is necessarily the right word, but like kind of what comes across in this is just like super compelling, and all of the emotional moments hit. I thought he played it all well, and I think about I think about his role in Social Network, and I feel like there were moments when he really taps into the way he portrayed Eduardo in that movie. Like especially when he's like talking to his girlfriend and like talking about how he has to do this show, it has to this, and he's like kind of like whining, but also like fighting and like angry, and it just is like, man, I was just super pumped to see him like that. Um, I saw you laughing. Was there something about that callback that you liked?
Oh, I just remember lawyer up, asshole.
Yeah,
Social Network, best movie of the 2010s. Check
it's
out our
great.
best movies of the 2010s on youtube.com/nostalgia pod. Have a lot more thoughts on that. Yeah, I mean, isn't it great that Garfield is back to doing some cool parts, as Tammy Faye, I thought he did a good job. I think the failings of that film rest more on the script and the structure of the film than the performances. I liked him in that. Um, And but yeah, he's really compelling as leading man in Tick Tick Boom.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I also really liked his friend Michael Robin De Jesus.
Yes,
I thought he
from
was fantastic in
saw
this.
him in The Boys in the Band on Netflix last year.
But yeah, he brought a real emotional presence, and I think obviously incredibly necessary. I wasn't I wasn't super aware of Jonathan Larson's story, so having uh, Robin DeJesus as Michael, I think adds in so much to like understand the direction that Larson's work goes in, especially like the material of Rent, like obviously being based
Yeah,
off of all these people that he was experiencing the loss of in his life. So I thought it also brought a real sense of like humanizing this like kind of neurotic character, which you really need when you have like this like crazed genius kind of like that you're following along, because you could just be like, oh, this guy's a fucking dick, and it's like, no, he has this friend who like really cares about him, and like obviously he cares about back and brought a real sense of humanity too, so thought he was crucial to it.
definitely.
What else worked for you?
Yeah, I mean, just to that point, it's if this movie maybe wasn't done as well, you might not sympathize or root for Jonathan quite as much because, like, on his face, he's like, he's barely surviving. He doesn't pay his utility bill, and it's not that he necessarily can. It's just he's so focused on his creative dream, which, as we know, is not exactly the most lucrative thing to occupy all your time. Um, but having Michael there presenting the other side of things, right? Sacrificing, giving up in a certain sense, right? Because Jonathan prevents him as, oh, he's this amazing actor, right? And later on, Michael's like, no, I was a mediocre actor in New York City. There's a lot of those. I really liked how they handled that, and they tried to, naturally throughout the course of the movie lift up like Jonathan's, genius as a creator, because all the other characters just really seem to, believe it. And I think speaks to how the movie's scripted and all that. Um, Nice to see Vanessa Hudgens in
Yeah,
this. Obviously, as we know, she does have good pipes, and she's, I think, picking lots of roles that benefit her in that. Like she did like that the Grease like live rendition a few years back. So cool just to see her in the ensemble. Definitely good. And then Alexandra Shipp as the girlfriend dancer character.
yeah.
I haven't really seen too much of her since like X-Men Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, where she played Storm. That's when I first became aware of her. But I thought she also was a nice presence. Obviously this is a Jonathan story, Jonathan movie. Garfield's in most. It's all really about him, but they do a decent job of still coloring in his supporting characters enough that they're not super, ciphery.
Yeah, going back to Hudgens real quick, the song she gets to sing really, really hit a chord for me, and I just thought that really worked. I thought basically the last like 20 minutes, like the emotional beats, really were just uh, really working and super strong. Um, just a couple other people I want to shout out real quick. Bradley Whitford getting a nice little like role here, which his career post West Wing has been pretty interesting, like up and down. Like I guess West Wing was also around time. He's like Billy Madison and stuff like that. But I just think he's really found his like niche, and like these like side character roles just really fit
Yes.
for him. But playing
Yeah.
Sondheim, good look.
Yeah. I thought it was very convincing too.
I
Looked
agree.
like him, sounded like him. I love that bit where he's on stage with Richard Kine's character, and
Yeah.
they're just completely saying the opposite thing at all times. It's so funny.
But Khan's like, I was gonna say that. Like,
Yeah,
we're saying the same thing, but no.
yeah. It's,
Thought
it's
that
like
was
I thought
great.
it was bad. I thought it was good. Right. And when I say it was bad, it was because it was good. I love
Yeah.
that shit. Just some wise ass. Really funny.
Um, I I also really loved the all the cameos in the Sunday brunch musical
Mm,
number.
the
You
Lynn
get
connection.
you get Andre DeShields. I think Philippa Sue was in there at one
Yep.
point.
And Renee Goldsberry.
Yeah, and a ton of just like there's just a ton of people. I think also a couple of cast members from Rent. I didn't see Adina. Was kind of expecting to see Adina in there somewhere, but um, yeah, just some really nice touches. Did you like seeing Lynn show up as the cook?
Yeah, I feel like I barely noticed it honestly at
Huh.
first. Yeah, but I guess that's his thing, right? Like
Yeah.
he still gave himself a small role for In the Heights
Yep.
adaptation, which he didn't direct, but he's obviously produced. So yeah, I think that's just what we got to expect from Lin. But honestly,
Hmm.
I was impressed with the job he did on this. You
Me
know,
too.
and we're going to be getting more of Lin the end of this week. Disney's next animated film, Encanto,
Okay.
comes out with original songs by Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's a busy man.
Yeah, absolutely. Last question for this, we'll move on. Any musical number that really stood out for you?
Oh yeah, I really liked what was it? The I thought the first song, the opening number, I really
Mm.
enjoyed. The Happy Birthday song. I don't know if that's the name of it. I like that one a lot. Um, the Johnny Can't Decide song, more towards the middle, I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, I like the music. You know, and I think
I
that's the thing.
like the music a lot.
If the music wasn't that good, Tick Tick Boom wouldn't be too good either. I mean that's the thing about musicals. It needs to be there. The music.
Definitely. I really liked Boho Days. That where they're like in the apartment having the party and they're singing about how great like bohemian life is in New York City. I just really liked that whole feel, and obviously a nod to Rent in a sense. Obviously, they talk about bohemian. I have one of the songs pretty.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. La Boheme, that's the one. So just like really good stuff. I was really pleased with this movie, like, and kind of surprised. I thought that this might be like, kind of middling, but blew my
Yeah, well,
expectations away.
and that's actually a funny note too. Remarking on the script and being impressed with it. This movie was written by Stephen Levinson, the creator of Dear Evan Hansen.
Mm.
Levinson, of course, was also involved in the adaptation of Dear Evan Hansen that we just got, Ben Platt, and that did not go nearly as well. It's
No,
funny to see how that goes.